Hello, everyone, and welcome today to today's masterclass. I have a really exciting guest for you. But before we start, I'm Leah Vachani. I am your host for the DIY Detox Summit, and I'm really excited. There's 20 experts that we're bringing you a whole plethora of topics and how you can DIY your own health journey. And today I have Sarah Barthel here. So Sarah Barthel is a functional medicine nutritionist who specializes in digestive disorders, hormones, and autoimmunity. She received her master's in nutrition and functional medicine from University of Western States and is a board-certified nutrition specialist. Sarah recognizes the importance of an interconnected approach, and while all health starts in the gut, it also impacts hormones, mood, brain, health, skin, immune function, and more. She owns a virtual practice, Vibrant Via, and has worked on some of the most challenging, complex cases in the country at thedoctor.com. She helped develop a corporate wellness program that has been adopted by organizations including Bayer and Anderson Windows. Sarah uses lab testing, nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle interventions to provide a functional medicine approach to health and nutrition. She's a former Ironman and ultramarathon athlete who is passionate about helping people achieve optimal vitality and restore balance to their bodies naturally. Wow, Sarah, welcome.
Thank you, Leah. It's so good to be here. I'm excited to talk to you about this topic of detoxification and making it simple.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. So for those of you just tuning in, her topic is Microdetox, simple symptom-free strategies for a lifetime of well-being. And who doesn't want a lifetime of well-being? So I'm really excited to chat about this today too. So Sarah, what brought you to functional medicine?
I think for me, kind of like most people who end up in functional medicine, it was my own health journey. It was my own experience of going to doctor after doctor and explaining my symptoms and being told I'm totally fine, I'm healthy, my labs look perfect. And I was like, I am not fine. Something is wrong. And, just that frustration and helpless feeling, I think is what finally took me down this path to functional medicine, which is essentially looking at all the areas of your life. It's looking at functional labs, it's looking at nutrition, lifestyle, stress, sleep, relationships, and because we're interconnected beings and it's all in toxins. Those are all conversations that have to be addressed if we want to have optimal health, energy, vitality. And I think I get really frustrated because for some reason, especially women, we get told like, no, it's you're just aging, or it's just in your head, or here's an anti-anxiety med, whatever it is. And I just want to tell people, like, keep digging, trust your gut. If there's a reason. So that's really my purpose and my passion in going back to get my master's, was to help people like me where I was 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you how many women I've talked to where they've had the same experience. They go to the doctor and they're like, well, it's all in your head, or it's hormonal, it's menopause, and in their hands, like, I don't know what to do now. So let's start at the basics. Like,
Yep.
can you tell us, what does detoxification mean? What does it involve? What systems, what organs? What are we talking about here?
Yeah. So it's really just, it's like a metabolic process that happens in our bodies day in and day out. It's really the process of transforming poisons and toxins that either come through our environment, through our food, or they can be produced internally, and kind of transforming them and packaging them up fit for removal and excretion through the body. So really any chemical that we get exposed to gets processed and detoxified this way. And I mean, it also includes, I don't think people realize, it includes hormones. They're treated by our bodies like a toxin, waste products from within our own body, but it's also alcohol, caffeine, pesticides, medications. They all have to go through this process. So the main organs that are involved are the kidney, the liver, the gallbladder, the gut, which includes the small intestine and the colon, but it also even includes our skin and our lungs. And so it's important to make sure that we have all of the nutrients that we need for our bodies to go through this, because we've been dealing with health issues for a while, or we don't have a great diet, it's really easy to kind of not have the basic building blocks to go through this process, this 3-phase process.
Yeah. So what I just heard is, like, we can try and reduce toxins in our life, but we're still going to be inundated through our environment, through our food, our water, our products. And our body has an internal mechanism to kind of almost like a filter to like try and take out the bad stuff and get rid of it out of our body. But we need to do things to support that, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense to me. Now, what does detox have to do with gut health and hormones?
So, I mean, gut health, as you talked about in the intro, is sort of the foundation. All disease starts in the gut and all health starts in the gut, but our organs don't work in isolation, and they really function collaboratively. So, if you have a toxic gut, if you have an infection or food sensitivities or some sort of pathogen, inflammation going on in your gut, what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut. When you have leaky gut, it leaks out into the bloodstream and it goes systemic. And that inflammation, that infection goes systemic. It often even crosses the blood-brain barrier. And so that it disrupts our hormones, and it displaces important minerals. So it really affects all different parts of the body. It can damage our DNA. It leads to that inflammation, and oxidative stress causes us to age and wear down faster. So it really is important, not only if you're thinking about longevity, but just, or fertility, or just general health in general. It's something that it's, like you said, we're not going to escape the toxic onslaught in our environment. And that's fine. Our bodies are incredible. We just need to give them kind of the raw materials and make sure that they have what they need to do its job.
So it sounds like what you're saying is perhaps like chronic illness has to do with our toxic burden and our inability to get rid of stuff. Could that be related?
Absolutely. I mean, digestive insufficiency, a lot of people come to me, a lot of women come to me. I think I've read statistics that somewhere around 70% of women in the Western world have IBS, or like bloating digestive symptoms. And so issues when you've got like low stomach acid or IBS or bloating, or even gallbladder bile acid issues where you're not really digesting and breaking down fats well, it just creates this vicious cycle of like toxic burden, inflammation, all kinds of health issues. And then, as I said before, these toxins interfere with our hormones and they throw off estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, thyroid. Thyroid is really common. I think of it kind of like a canary in the coal mine for a toxic burden.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like no matter what health issue we're dealing with, we definitely want to take a look at the gut and supporting our detoxification. So
Absolutely.
that being said, when I hear of a detox, I mean, I'm a holistic nutritionist, so I know what detoxification means, but many women come to me and when they hear the word detox, they're like, oh, it's a juice cleanse, or I'll be tied to the toilet all day, right?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? What are some misconceptions about detoxification?
There's a lot. Yeah, that's definitely more mainstream. But I guess the message I want to convey is that detox does not have to be extreme, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to feel terrible and have those herxomer reactions, right? The no pain, no gain thing does not apply to detoxification. In fact, that could be a symptom that either you're releasing stored toxins from your fat cells or from your tissues, and you're not able to, or maybe you're releasing them too quickly and you're not able to detoxify them and process them and remove them fast enough. And it can be doing more damage than good. So I would say, it doesn't have to be painful and extreme. So even just small steps, like going 12 hours overnight fasting without eating, just giving your body that 12-hour reset overnight, or like not eating, not snacking all day, every day. It allows your migrating motor complex to kick in, which is like that little broom that sweeps out the intestines and keeps us from getting things like bacterial overgrowth and all the gas and bloating. Just supporting your drainage pathways. So like your lymphatic system, that might be dry skin brushing or jumping on a trampoline with your kids, rebounding, hot and cold shower or sauna if you have access to one. Even just eating, I think the most overlooked thing is just eating a wide range of high quality like vibrantly colored plants, veggies, herbs, spices, nuts, seeds, because each of those colors has different phytonutrients that have different anti-inflammatory compounds, but each one has a different type of fiber too that binds and removes different types of toxins. So the more variety, the better. The American Gut Project says 30 to 50 should be our goal. And I always tell people, I have a chart that I use to like get your kids involved and make it a fun game. And then just water.
You said 30 to 50 should be our goal. 30 to 50 of
Yes.
what?
30 to 50 different vibrantly colored plants. So veggies, herbs, spices, nuts, seeds. And I'm not even talking about a whole serving, like a bite here, a sprinkle there. It's just variety is king. And I think most of us are used to just like getting in the habit of like running out of broccoli and bananas and replacing them with that. But I think it's fun to just go in with a fresh set of eyes to the grocery store or the farmer's market and be like, oh, especially if you can find bright blue, purple, like those deep pigmented veggies and fruits. Those are some of the most powerful medicines out there.
They're saying eat the
For
rainbow.
variety. Try something new.
When they're saying eat the rainbow, there's actually some scientific support behind that, and that each vegetable or fruit contains different antioxidants, different phytonutrients that help our own detox pathways.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, hydration, clean water, good high quality water, a good filter. And then I put most women I work with on medical grade electrolytes. So most of us are just walking around chronically dehydrated, even if we're drinking loads of water a day. And that includes me, where it's not crossing the cell membrane. And that's really important for detoxification too.
Interesting. So what do you think, what is our hydration goal, by the way, as women?
So typically it's about, they say about 8 ounce glasses, but for me, I found that what's more important is, because a lot of times when people are doing that, I always ask them, how often until you urinate after you drink water? And if it's just a few minutes, if it's not at least an hour or two, they're usually not actually absorbing that water. So I have most people add in a medical grade electrolyte at least once a day, because then we know that the water they are drinking is actually hydrating them at the cellular level.
And it's going right through you sometimes. You're not actually absorbing it.
Sodium, potassium, magnesium, those electrolytes are critical to get across the cell membrane.
Right. And so when they say your body is what, they say something like 70% water.
Yeah.
It's not true if you're dehydrated, right? And if your cells are taking in that water with those electrolytes you just said.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I bet that affects everything then, like our mental clarity, our energy levels, our sleep.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
and I see people add that in and it makes it's like life changing, and it's so foundational and so simple. So
it's amazing sometimes just these simple little things we can do that can drastically change the way we feel, because like you said earlier, like our body is amazing. If you give it what it needs, it can function better.
No, absolutely. And I would say mineral deficiencies like those electrolytes are more common than vitamin deficiencies. And I think they're micro, right? They're small quantities, but I see a lot more deficiencies of those. And those are the building blocks of like our proteins and our enzymes that keep every organ system going. So that is something that I think is important to test too.
You bring up a really good point, Sarah, like with the minerals, and you were speaking about eating so many vegetables, which is great. Is it true that we don't have as much mineral content in our food as we used to? Is that why maybe some women need to supplement with the medical grade electrolytes?
Yeah, well, that's one important element of it. And they have found that our soils today just are simply more depleted than they used to be. And so eating the same produce that may have provided enough of those vitamins and minerals in the past, in our parents' or grandparents' generations, it just isn't the same. The other aspect of that, though, is that especially what we're doing to the soil and spraying pesticides on them, pesticides like glyphosate or Roundup actually bind to minerals in these plants, and they leach them from the plants, they leach them from our bodies. And so we're losing them that way. Stress, when you're stressed and those adrenals, cortisol, adrenaline is pumping, that's pulling those out of your body as well. So there's a lot of reasons.
Okay, and I'm pretty much, if you had the ability to ask the audience right now who's stressed, I think everyone would raise,
Everyone.
including myself. Yeah.
And if you say you're not, it's just that you're used to the pace,
Oh,
right? Your
yeah.
body still recognizes that you're stressed and will respond accordingly, at least physiologically.
So since we're on the subject of supporting detoxification, you said something earlier before we hit record that was about a study.
Yeah.
And I want to hear about that. Can you go into the BUS study?
Yeah. So Stephen Jinwei did it's called the BUS study, the blood, urine, and sweat study. And he just found that a large number of toxins actually get excreted through our sweat. And so once we get exposed, either gets excreted through our sweat or our stool, or it then goes through that whole process with our liver and then gets back into the urine and then the bile acids in the stool. But one of the important things that he found is just how they were measuring how many toxins were coming out in sweat. And so I think that's another simple thing that you can build into the day is just doing something that breaks a sweat. And it typically takes about 12 minutes on average to break a sweat. And you don't need to sweat for hours. It's really just get to the point where you break a sweat. So if you can jump around and dance with your kids, or, if you have access to a sauna or a hot bath, all of these things help us to detoxify chemicals and heavy metals through our skin. We even detoxify a little bit through our tears, which I found interesting.
Oh, I didn't even think about that one. I love that we're working on our hydration to
Yep.
bring the fluid in, and then also the fluid, if our body has the right nutrients, our fluid is also taking out some of these toxins through our urine, through our sweat, through our tears even.
Yep.
We go cut some onions and cry and detox.
Onions are good. Any veggies in that cruciferous family
Yeah.
are like powerhouses for detoxification, for promoting glutathione, which is our body's master antioxidant that our liver absolutely relies on.
Yeah, what
And
are the top 5 vegetables I would say, like just to keep it simple? Because
yeah,
I know you're gonna give our audience a
yeah,
great gift that goes more in depth, but top 5 right now, what would you say they are?
I would say like broccoli and cruciferous vegetables is like number 1 plus.
Okay.
Anything that's a lot of like fatty fish with
Mhm.
omega-3s would be really important. Purple produce. So like think if you can find purple sweet potatoes or purple cauliflower or blueberries, that's really potent. Or pomegranates, that blue purple color, or quercetin, like that is also promotes glutathione. So like red onions and capers are the highest.
Ooh.
And then tea. Tea is really high in polyphenols, green, black, rooibos, pueré, all kinds of different teas are really good for inflammation and detoxification and gut health.
I heard rooibos tea is also high in minerals too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you can get some like really nice flavored ones. So I have 2 boys, and they love drinking like the flavored rooibos, like some
Okay.
nectar, I think is one. There's a couple, and it's flavored with natural things.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
just a little pro tip for all the busy mamas out there: you can drink it for yourself. You can also get your kids hooked, and in the summer you can chill it and have it as like an iced tea instead of juice.
Yes. I love that tip.
Yeah,
It really comes down to planning ahead so that you can just grab it when you're ready for something.
having everything ready is, yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, I am dying to hear something else I want you to elaborate on, because before we hit record, I feel like we're talking about all these juicy tidbits, and I'm like dying to hear about these. And I'm going to call it the wrong word, but they're the specific bacteria, I think, or toxins, sorry. It's
Mhm.
toxins in our gut. I think you said obesogen.
Obesogens.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are they making me fat? What is going on here?
So, okay. And I'm glad you brought that up because I think some people are like, oh, toxins, why does it matter? But I think for most women, their weight matters. And especially as we hit like 35 and 40 and beyond, our bodies change and what worked in the past no longer works. And toxins are a major important factor in this. I mean, I've created a program for helping women balance hormones and gut health. And this focus on toxins is really central because these chemicals actually disrupt our hormones, our detox pathways. They make us insulin resistant. And so insulin is the fat storage hormone. It tells our bodies to store the fat, and fat protects toxins. And so it's doing us a favor, right? It's keeping us safe from the damage that these toxins might do, which is why it will not let go for anything, no matter how little you're eating and how much you're exercising. So, I mean, things like the top 5, I would say, are plastics. So BPA, BPS, BPF, any of the BPA free is turning out to be just as bad as BPA. So avoid all types of plastics if possible. And that's, plastic water bottles, but it's also in receipt paper. It's in farmed salmon, so wild caught salmon. So number 2 would be like pesticides and glyphosate. And just whatever you can do to reduce the amount of non-organic produce, and ewg.org is a great resource for that. If you can't buy everything organic, just look at the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 list and focus there. Those are your priorities. And then phthalates are probably the number one, probably the biggest offender. And so anything you see with artificial fragrance, perfumes, air fresheners, laundry detergent, switch to essential oils. They're the biggest culprit. But then like PFOAs, forever chemicals in non-stick pans and styrofoam and commercial meats. It's in our clothes, it's in our drinking water. So EWG, environmentalworkinggroup.org, is a great resource for kind of figuring out what products are better alternatives, or even what's in your water in your area. You can put your zip code in and find a water filter that filters that out.
I love those tips. And I think every woman just dialed in with their attention, hyper-focused, and we said, like, you need to do this to lose weight.
Yes. It's all about balance. Like, our bodies they will let it go when they're safe and in balance. So
yeah, and it's so interesting what you say, that there's not a quick fix for that. And as there shouldn't be. It's getting your body dialed in. But I love that you work with women on identifying these toxins and removing them so that their bodies can shed that extra weight finally.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not, we think as women, especially as busy moms, we're doing all the right things. Like, why isn't the weight coming off? Why don't I feel better?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't even know, right? Like what you just said is there might be these toxins in our body that are totally preventing us from getting to the goals that we're trying to achieve.
And I think that's the exciting thing, is that the science is finally catching up, that it's no longer like a calories in, calories out issue for women. It's a hormonal imbalance issue, and toxins play a big role in that. So it's not something that can be overlooked.
So I know our time together is coming to a close. I think we could talk for hours about this. But I want to tell the audience about this amazing free gift that you have to offer. And then I'd like to leave with 1 to 3 things that you can tell them to do right now. And maybe it's just kind of a summary of what we already went over. But tell us about the free gift first. Like, what if they go to vibrantvia.com/DIY-detox, what are they getting from you for free?
So I'm going to be listing out there. I have a PDF document that lists out all the foods, all the nutrients that promote detoxification. And I also included a 2-week reset meal plan with recipes that I use I run a guided 8-week detox program twice a year. The next one's coming up the 2nd week of January. But this is the 2-week reset that I start in the very beginning. And each recipe, each food is something that's going to lower inflammation, but also give your body the building blocks it needs to produce more of these glutathione, B vitamins, things that your body needs to detoxify. And then, obviously avoidance is key, but this is something that, that you could just add in any time of the year, this 2-week detox, just a reset diet.
I love that.
Extreme.
So generous. And for those of you that have listened all the way through, you get to reward yourself with this amazing free gift. Don't worry if you don't remember the URL, it'll be in your email. So go check your email. That's how you got here. So you have the email, and there'll be a link there to the free gift. And Sarah, I'd love for you to leave us with one or two, maybe three things that we should do right now in our day to improve our health?
So number one, take a big drink of water.
Yeah.
Maybe if you don't have electrolytes, put a little sea salt in there, or Celtic or Himalayan sea salt. Number two, go out for a walk. Bonus points if you can get outdoors in nature or with like a friend or a loved one. You will double and triple the benefits of that. And then three is try something new this week. Try some new produce. And 3A, I guess, would be like get yourself some broccoli sprouts, because that's like the most potent concentrated form of the myrosinase and those really important compounds that help us to detoxify.
Wow, I love it. I'm going to go. I already did 1 and 2, but work on 3, go to the grocery store. So I congratulate all of you watching. If you've made it this far, you've really taken the next step to your health. You've learned about some of these amazing tips that Sarah has shared with us. And go back and watch, either stay tuned for the experts coming or go back and watch the past experts, because each tidbit that these experts are giving us, they all kind of fit together for your health and wellness. And you're taking all this in. You are going to have all of these free gifts, all of this knowledge to go forth and really to take charge of your health. So go check your email, get that free gift, and you can also rewatch if you need to take some notes. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Leah. It's always fun to chat with you.